Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to episode 103 of Talking Asperger's with Andrew. My name's Andrew Marsh, and I'm autistic. Yeah, my representation of autism is Asperger's syndrome, or as they like to call it nowadays, type 1 autism. Now, I don't like that description, so I'm going to use the term Asperger's syndrome to refer to what I have. Or if I'm looking in the broader sense of autism generally, I'll use the word autism. So, what is all this video about, this webinar? Well, I want to help people, and that's whether that's the individual who's just been diagnosed or like me, diagnosed late in life. I was 51 when I was diagnosed. That's 9 years ago. I want to help them understand their condition and understand how they can help themselves to be better in society, whether it's in the workplace or with friends. And I also want to help employers because there's a huge gap in what employers do, what employers should do, and how they are supporting autistic people in their businesses. So these webinars are intended for anyone who is interested about Asperger's syndrome or autism to get a feel for what it is, some of the traits that we have, some of the challenges that we have, some of the strengths that we have. And there's an awful lot of strengths when you look at people in the past who may have had Asperger's syndrome. Now, obviously, historical figures from 100, 200 years ago, we don't know because Asperger's has only been known about since the end of the Second World War, and then not really until the 70s and 80s before that term was used to describe a condition that was prevalent in children and then mapped onto adults. So we can't go back and say, yes, this person definitely had Asperger's because it wasn't around then. We didn't have the clinicians to diagnose. But we suspect that people like Leonardo da Vinci, Alan Turing, maybe even Steve Jobs, and people like that who are very skilled, very analytical, very ooh, asking the what if questions and looking at things from a different perspective. That's one of the strengths of people with Asperger's syndrome and autism is that we can look at things with a different perspective and think, hmm, what if we looked at it from this way? What if we challenged what we know? What do we know? What don't we know? Why don't we look at this in a different way? That can lead to innovation. It can lead to new products, new services, and that will benefit us all as a society as we all grow. So there are great skills that people with Asperger's have, and we have some challenges. I'm not hiding behind that. Yeah, we have some challenges. I have challenges, and my challenges really boil up into one word: people. Now, there are a lot of people out there who don't have Asperger's, who are not autistic, who, like me, struggle around people because people are fickle. They don't always say what they mean, and they don't always mean what they say, and they expect you to interpret by some magical brainwaves that are coming out of their head what they actually meant. So this is the sort of things I discuss on my webinar. So we're on episode 103 now, so we've covered some fair ground. And I'm going to cover something that I haven't covered before on one of my webinars. And this is an interesting one because I definitely do this. I do this daily, and it's over checking, obsessive checking. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's kind of like what it says on the tin. It's you go and lock the back door, and you're going out for the day, or you're going out down the shops, and you're putting your shoes on. You go, did I just lock the back door? And there's a part of your brain that says, yes, you just locked the back door. But what do you do? Did I really lock the back door? So you go and check. Put your hand on the handle. Yep, it's locked. Check that you've locked it. It's fine. You go out the door, you get to the car. Did I really lock the back door? That's when you have this internal conversation of, yeah, you locked the back door. You did. You did. You went and checked it. You did. But there's this tiny little piece of your brain that's going, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't check it. You didn't lock it. So you have to, otherwise this thing is going to be gnawing at you while you're out. What if burglars come in, they go in the back door and they nick everything, and then the insurance company says, "How did they get in?" Well, the back door was unlocked. Insurance is completely invalid. You've lost all your possessions. So I have to go back in and check that I've locked the back door. And of course, in doing that, I've gone back into the house and I've unlocked the front door. Go and check the back door, come back, gone out the door, locked the front door, gone into the car. And then you sit and go, did I lock the front door? So we can wind ourselves up in this whirlwind of did I check the back door? Did I lock the back door? Am I sure that I checked that I locked the back door? Did I really check that I checked that I'd locked the back door? You can see where this is going. You can see where this is going. You can you can easily come up with three words, and I'm going to say those three words right now. Come up with three words, and you think this person has this condition: obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, it's quite possible that as well as having Asperger's syndrome, I'm OCD, have obsessive compulsive disorder. Quite possible, more than likely. I just haven't been diagnosed with it. I don't need to get the diagnosis because I know that I say to myself, did I really lock the back door? When I go to bed at night, I check the back door, knowing that it's been locked all day because I checked it when I went out this morning and no one has been in or out the back door since. But when I go to bed, I check that I've locked the back door. I'll get halfway up the stairs and I go, did I really check that I'd locked the back door? And that conversation starts again. Did you? Did you? Oh, you know you did. No one went out since we've been out this morning, and you checked it then, and you've just checked it now. Did I really check that I'd locked the back door? So you go back down the stairs and you go and check that you locked the back door. Other things that I do it with regularly are we don't put our central heating on a timer. I get up in the morning, I turn the central heating and the hot water on, turn the hot water off after half an hour, leave the central heating on so that when my wife gets up, it's nice and warm for her. And then when after she's got up, I turn the heating off. So I get up, I put the heating on, get my breakfast, and I sit and have my breakfast. Half an hour later, I'll get up and I'll go and turn the hot water off because we only need the water on for half an hour. It's sort of a small tank. And then 10 minutes later, I'm sitting, having my cup of tea, watching the telly. Did you turn the heating off? Did you turn the hot water off? Yeah, you know you did. You just did it 10 minutes ago to the last ad break on that television program. Did you really turn the hot water off? Or are you thinking that you did it yesterday and you're just remembering that you did it yesterday? Did you really just turn the hot water off? So guess what? Yeah, you've got it. I get up and I go and check. Boom, the hot water is off. I know because I just turned it off 10 minutes ago. But I had to go and check. It's what I do. It's one of the things I do. When I, I, when I go to bed, I will turn my computer off. The last thing I do before I go downstairs, get a drink, say goodnight to my wife, and come upstairs is to turn my computer off. And I'll then sit up in bed and read to unwind, decompress from having a blue screen and watching the computer. So I do that. But I'm a creature of habit. If I were to put the camera around and I'm not going to do it and show you, I've got files over there, I've got files there, I've got a filing cabinet here, I've got a bookcase over there and a bookcase over there, and I know what's on them. I know what's in those bookcases. And if I take something out, I'll put it back in exactly the same place. When I was a child and before I knew I had Asperger's, although I've always known I was different, I could tell if someone had come into my bedroom and moved something, whether it's one of my books, one of my CDs, a cassette, back in the days when we had cassettes for listening to music, or singles, or my books, or my schoolwork, or my toys, I would know just by opening the door to my bedroom, someone's been in and moved that. And it was usually be my mum because she was dusting or coming in or having a look because she liked doing things like that. One time, I got one of this joke tins of sweets where if you rattle it, it sounds like there's a few sweets in it, but actually you take the lid off and there's sort of springy, caterpillary, boingy thing comes out. And I left it on my uh, chest of drawers. Came in from school one day, my mum said, "You rotten sod, where that sweetie gone?" That sweetie tin. I said, "Serves you right." But I knew that she had done it because she'd moved it. She hadn't put it back millimetrically in the place where I left it, and I know where I left it. She called me names for that. Quite funny. because I knew that she had previously been in my room and moved things. She'd moved my book, or she'd taken a book out and not put it back quite right, not exactly square, not exactly lined up. Always checking that everything is where I left it. Excuse me. And it's not something I can forget to do. And I've just contradicted myself because right at the beginning I said, did I check that I'd turned the heating off, or did I check I'd locked the back door? You have to do it. You have to go and check. Once that thought has come into my head, did you really turn the hot water off 5 minutes ago? Yeah, you know you did. You know you did. Of course you did. You absolutely did. But I'll get up and go and check. Did you really lock the back door? Crazy. The things that force us to go and check. Oh, excuse me, sorry. And it is obsessive compulsive disorder. It's it's not being able to move on from that thing of knowing that the back door is shut and it's locked, knowing that you've checked it, but still, when that question pops into your head when you're halfway up the stairs, did you check the back door? And you tell yourself, yes, I did. I did check the back door, and I know it's locked, but I have to turn round, go back down the stairs, and check. One of those things that I do. It's one of those things that people who have Asperger's and autism are quite likely to be able to do. You quite often get more than one neurodivergent characteristic if you have autism or Asperger's. Some people have ADHD, some people have ADD, some people have OCD, some people have other things, dyslexia or dyscalculia. We don't just always get one thing. We can have other things within our representation of how we interact with life in general around us. So it's quite common to have more than one thing, neurodivergent um, trait, and it's just quite bizarre. But you see, on television programs, you will see that the writers have written in certain characteristics. Now, if you've all seen Friends, I'm sure most of you have seen Friends. Who was the obsessive which one of the six people in Friends, the main characters, was the obsessive compulsive disorder? Who was that? You know exactly who that was. It's Monica. She had to make sure everything was cleaned. She had to make sure everything was in the same place. She had to check that this was done. She had to check that that was done. She had to be the one that was doing the Thanksgiving dinner exactly the same as the Thanksgiving dinner she did last year and the year before, because she's mapped that over from what her parents did. So she's brought that on board and she was checked, and she's obsessive about cleaning things. That's her thing. Monica on Friends was obsessive about those sorts of things. That was her trait. If you've seen the um, uh, detective sort of show called Monk, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the main character who was um, he wasn't a policeman. I don't think he was a policeman, but he would help solve crimes. He was obsessive compulsive disorder. He would click the door 5 times. He had those locks in New York, in houses, in apartments in New York, that you turn a handle, uh, a knob, and it would go click. And he would go click, 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 undo, undo, do, undo, do that 5 times, knowing that on the last time, click, it was locked. He would do that every time. We got into the house and shut the door behind him. He just couldn't go once, knowing that he's locked the door. He would have to do it 5 times. And there are other people in other television shows and films who have OCD traits, and you see them. You see them. It's quite fascinating how people do that. Oh, excuse me again. How that's just it's just how we are. It's not a voluntary thing to think today I'm going to make sure that I've double checked that I've locked everything. It's not a uh, um, a thing that you decide to do Today I'm going to make sure that I've checked all my locks and that I've put all my files back in their right place. It's just something that you do. It's built in to me. It's built into me as to how I do things is that I check. One of my OCD things. Now I'm this is my diary. Yeah, look at that. A paper diary. My wife has tried to get me into electronic diaries, but I just can't get away from having a paper diary. One of the things I do with my paper diary is when I buy a lottery ticket, I will make a note in my diary of the time that I bought my lottery ticket and where I bought it. So that if, one would hope, I win the lottery, the jackpot, and you phone up the lottery provider and you say, "Hi, I'm chuffed to bits because I think I've got a winning ticket." They will ask you some questions. They don't just go, "Oh, certainly, we'll send you the money right away." They have to check that you have a valid ticket and it's bona fide. And some of the questions they ask are, "Where and when did you buy your ticket?" Oh, was it Tuesday when I did that, or was it Wednesday? Oh, it might have been Monday. Was it in the morning or in the afternoon? You're doing that. You can't tell them when and where you bought your ticket. I can go to my diary. All I put in red pen, and yes, it is red pen L and the time, because I know I always buy my tickets at the same place. And if I happen to be somewhere else and will buy a ticket in a different place, I will make a note of where that other place is. So that if it just has L and the time in my date entry in my diary, I will know it's from the certain place that I go to regularly, and that's where I buy my lottery ticket. That's one of my OCD things, is to write it in my diary, the time that I bought my lottery ticket, because they will want to know the time and place. Then there's other numbers other than your entry numbers. There's other numbers on your lottery ticket, which will be the vendor. I think one of them is actually called vendor or vendor number, and there'll be the machine number. So there's other numbers that you need to go through with them to verify that yes, you have the winning ticket, and they will then, having gone through the process of validating your ticket, validating your identity, and validating where you want to put the money, they'll eventually, in the course of going through their process, because they have to be careful. If you've won 50 million quid on the lottery, they want to make sure it's your ticket. They don't want to give 50 million quid to some scammer down the road. So they have to do that. But I'm getting off track here. But you know what I'm saying. Me writing in my diary what time I bought my lottery ticket. It's just one of those things I do. It's logical to me to do it. So that I have the comfort of knowing that in my diary, on that wonderful day when my lottery ticket goes bing, you've won the jackpot of X million pounds. I can have all the information at my disposal to say, when I phone up the lottery provider and say, I won the lottery. I think I won the lottery. How do I go about making my claim? They'll go, certainly, and they'll go through the process. And I can then say, when they ask the question, certainly say, where and when did you buy the ticket? And I've got it to within 5 minutes in my diary that I bought it at 10 past 12 on that Tuesday at this place. It says so in my diary. And I actually do that in the store. When I have bought my ticket, I look at my watch. I look at my watch and I remember that time. It's just one of those things I do. So that when I win the lottery, I've got all those facts and information at my disposal to assist them in confirming to me that, yes, it's my ticket that's won, and we want to give you the money, Andrew. Perfect. Thank you very much. OCD, over checking. Overchecking is just one of those things that a lot of people who are autistic, and as I said earlier, you don't have to be autistic or have Asperger's to be OCD or to be someone who checks things a lot, but it's just one of those things that I do. Here's a good one for this. People do this in NLP sometimes to show you how um, you do things by rote. And that isn't necessarily being OCD, but how you do things by rote. And they'll say to you, if you're in a doing an NLP or in that sort of situation, someone might say to you, "Okay, I want you to tell me how you brush your teeth," and you will go through in your head how you brush your teeth, and I can guarantee that when you brush your teeth in the morning and in the evening, you do it exactly the same way every time, down to picking up the toothbrush. Do you put the toothpaste on the toothbrush before you wet it, or do you wet the toothbrush and then put water on the toothpaste and then wet it again? Do you start with the left, back, or at the front, or the back, or at the top? You will do it exactly the same. And you might be thinking, really? Next time, this evening, when you're brushing your teeth, you won't realize how regimental it is how you brush your teeth because we're all creatures of habit. You will do it by rote. When you go out, which order do you do this in? Do you put your shoes on, then put your coat on, then put your hat on, or do you put your coat and hat on before your shoes? I can guarantee you, almost certainly, that you will do it exactly the same way when you're at home. You'll do it exactly the same way. For me, it's shoes. This is interesting. I go shoe, shoe, tie shoe, tie shoe. I don't go shoe, tie shoe, shoe, tie shoe. I go shoe on, tie shoe, tie shoe. Then I put my scarf and coat, and then I put my hat on. I do it religiously every time I go out. It's just a routine that I do in going out. How I put my shoes on. If you're getting dressed to go up somewhere nice, as a man, what do you put your clothes on? Now, there's a reasonably sensible order. You need to put your underclothes on before you put your top clothes on. But which order do you do it? Do you put your shirt in before you put your tie on? Or do you put your tie on before you tuck your shirt in? Do you do your top button up before you put your tie on? Or do you put your tie on with the top button undone, and then when the tie's done, you do the top button up? Guarantee you'll do it the same way. But you probably won't realize that. So the next time you're doing that, you will go, damn, he's right. I do it the same way because we're all creatures of habit. We get into a routine. If you were like I was when a younger man and my dad washed the car in exactly the same way. He would start facing the bonnet and he would do the windscreen and the bonnet and he would go anti-clockwise around the car until he came back to the driver's side front wing and finish off. Then he would do the tyres in the same order every single time. And that's the way I would wash a car if I was washing a car with a bucket of soapy water and a sponge, because that's the way I've been taught and been shown. And so that's the way I would do it. Same as if you're doing the garden. Almost certainly guarantee you would do the garden the same way as you were shown as a child. I would cut the grass first, pick the grass up if it's not a collector in your lawnmower, and then I would do the borders. I wouldn't do the borders, then do the grass. I'd do the grass, then I'd do the borders. Because that's the way my dad did it. That's the way I was shown, that's where I learned. It's amazing how we pick up on how we're shown to do something, but it's also amazing how we do things religiously. And my obsessive compulsive disorders are checking things. Did I really check the padlock, the back door? Did I turn the oven off? Take the dinner out? Don't know. I hear the oven through the door. Not sure. Don't know. I have to get out and check. Once that thought has got to the front of my head and gone, ha, you didn't turn the oven off, to go and check. Bizarre. But having OCD tendencies means that I can usually find what I'm looking for. Because I know right now exactly where my wallet is. I know exactly where my keys are. I know exactly where my alert card is for when I go out. My alert card is a card that I have, which was given to me by the people that diagnosed me with Asperger's, which was issued in conjunction with the local police, that says, I have an autism spectrum disorder. I might not act in the way that you expect me to. And it has three things about that, how I might act or not act if I was needing to present my card to someone in authority to explain something that had happened when I was out. Um, I have that alert card so that so rather than me just saying, I have autism, I didn't get what's going on, because some people might use these things as an excuse. I can show my alert card to the policeman or whatever the situation is, and that might help them understand me and me understand them better about what has happened to diffuse the situation and find a resolution so that I can go on my merry way. And usually that would be get back home as quick as I can. OCD or obsessive checking. It's one of the things I do. You might have friends and family or people at work who are OCD. My desk, my desk at work now, when I first started work in the mid 1980s, we didn't have computers. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, what? What do you mean you didn't have computers? We didn't have computers. So all our calculations, all our assessments, all our report writing, all our cross sections and annotated diagrams were all drawn by hand. And if we had drawings that were being done, we would then draw it out as accurately as we could and then hand it to a draftsman who would then trace over or redraw that in a professional standard. And then we could use that in our report. But my desk at work was laid out exactly the same. I'd have my working area in front of me. I'd have the phone would be over on the left-hand side, so that I had when I picked it up, it was to my left ear so that I had my right hand clear to write notes in my notebook, which would be on my right hand side. And then I would have I'll think of the word, desk tidy with my pens and pencils in there. There would be my in trays would be over there, all the same. And wherever I worked before we had computers, that would be how I laid my desk out. Because that way I would know where everything was. And that is a very handy thing to know, knowing where everything is. The opposite is ADHD or ADD, which is attention deficit disorder, where you'll be doing something and suddenly you're distracted to that or that or that or that. So you start things and you don't finish them and they get dumped, and then you don't know where you put your glasses or your keys or your phone, and you then can't find them. I usually know where everything is because my phone, here it is, on my right hand side within arm's reach on my desk. My diary right next to it. My pens and paper, my pens are there. Information that I need to file is on my left-hand side that I still need out because it might be relevant to me having an appointment next week or something. That's on my left-hand side. So if I know I need a letter because I might be going to an appointment at the doctor's or hospital or something, it's on my left-hand side. It will not be on my right-hand side. It will be on my left-hand side, left of my computer as I look at the desk. so that I know where it is. That's my filing pile that I will put in the filing cabinet, which is below the desk. That's how I am. I'm organized to the point of obsession. Yes. Is it a bad thing? To me, no. I like to know that my back door's locked when I've gone out. My front and back doors are locked when I go to bed. So practice. But I'm obsessive about it. So you might have people you work with who are always got, see, I've got my stapler just up there on my printer, and my hole punch is down here. Here's my hole punch. It's a heavy duty hole punch. That's within arm's reach on the left, down by the floor. So if I was downstairs, my wife wanted to use my hole punch, I'd say upstairs, left-hand side of the deck by the floor, just sitting on some files. And my stapler, right-hand side on top of the printer, right there. So I know where everything is. My glasses, because these are my reading glasses. When I've got my normal glasses, which are these ones, these are my normal glasses for out and about and normal everyday things. These are my reading glasses, and they are perfect for the distance between me and the computer screen. So when I'm doing computer work, I've got my reading glasses on, but I know exactly where they are. It serves me well knowing that I know all of these things. And if I suddenly can't find something, I know where to first look. I always put my keys on the bedside cabinet when I go to bed at night, right next to me, within hand's reach, for several reasons. One, I know where the keys are. Two, in the unlikely event of an emergency, say the smoke alarms go off and there genuinely is a fire in the house, I'm not running around the house trying to find where the hell the keys are so that we can get out. I know exactly where the keys are. I can pick them up, get down the stairs if it's safe to do so, and get out the front door. Rather than, where are my keys? Where are my keys? Where are my keys? That 30 seconds, that minute could be the difference between life and death if you don't know where your keys are at 2 o'clock in the morning when your house is on fire. I know where my keys are. So if you work with people who are like that, it's actually a good thing, providing they're not overly obsessive and it spills out into things in an unnatural or unfriendly way. But if the lady that you work with that sits next to you and she's got a hole punch and a stapler exactly where it is and she knows where it is, don't go moving them. Please don't move them. If you use them, put them back where you got it from, because she comes back, or he or she comes back and finds that it's not there. They'll go, where is it? Where is it? What's happened? Who's been at my desk? Who's moved things? And it will be a problem for them. It will get them really agitated very quickly if something that they've left exactly where they know it is isn't there when they get back. Because the person across the room has borrowed it and not put it back. That can be a problem. So be aware that if people have a nice tidy desk, it's because they want it that way so that they know where everything is. So don't go moving things unnecessarily. Because one day it might be really important. Where's that report that we sent out last week? Client wants another copy. He's about to go into a meeting. Can you email it to him now? Do you know where you've got it on your computer? Are you sure? Because you would go to your computer, you would go to your project file, you would go to reports, and so it would be boom, 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 folder, 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 bang, there it is. Email it. Further to your telephone conversation earlier today, please find enclosed another copy of our report. Done. Rather than, where the hell did I put that report? Or where the hell did someone else put that report? It's not in the directory on the computer. You've then got a, where the hell's it gone situation. Whereas if you're logical, methodical, you know where everything is, or you've got a much better chance of finding the things that you want to find. So that's today's topic, obsessively checking, which as we usually do, as I usually do, we've drifted out into other things, but it's all related, and a lot of these things are all related. But if you're an employer and you're watching this on replay and you're thinking, how do I do this neurodiversity thing in my business? I don't want to get it wrong. And that's part of the problem. Employers don't want to get it wrong, so they tend not to do anything, which actually is breaking the law. There is something called the Equality Act, which came into force in the UK in 2010. If you're an employer or a manager in a team in a business, and you don't know what the Equality Act of 2010 is, you need to start finding out today, right now, because there are things in it called reasonable adjustments that you need to know how to do, how to manage. Otherwise, you could have a ticking time bomb of a constructive dismissal case or a harassment case or an unfair dismissal case right on your doorstep if you don't know what reasonable adjustments are and how to do that, how to manage people, and how to manage people who are neurodiverse or different in your teams. I can help you with that. I've got nearly 60 years of lived experience of being different, not fitting in. 9 of those are knowing that I have Asperger's syndrome. I work with employers to help them better manage people with Asperger's. So if you want to have a 30-minute free consultation with me, no obligation whatsoever, just to have a chat to say, Andrew, can you help us out? What is this we need to do? Be delighted to have that conversation with you. Please get in touch. You can get hold of me on my website, which is aspergersmatters.com, or you can email me at andrew@aspergersmatters.com. And I'm going to be getting new backgrounds created so that in next month's episode, we'll have the backgrounds with the website on so that you can use that. It's more visible to you when I'm on the show. That's all we have time for this week. So we're now on a monthly format. So it is the first Wednesday of March, which I think, if my thinking is right, is the 6th. Hang on, look at my diary. March. First Wednesday is the 6th. Wednesday, the 6th of March, 3 o'clock. That'll be when I'm on. The video for this will be on my YouTube channel within the next couple of days, and keep a lookout at the end of February for what next week's topic will be. And if you have a topic that you want me to cover, even if I've covered it before, if you've got a topic, please drop me a line at andrew@aspergersmatters.com, and I'd be delighted to look into what you want me to talk about. Because I'll leave you with this parting thought. We are in the 3rd decade of the 21st century. The 1980s started over 43 years ago. If you're thinking the 1980s was just a decade or so ago, and well, we're not too bad, we sort of got it right in the 1980s, over 40 years ago, over 43 years ago. So come on, we can do better. We have to do better. We must do better. Let's understand all of the people that we have working for us and help them be at their productive best, because that's when they'll be more efficient. That's when your business will make more money. That's when you share the rewards of that back down to your employees. My name's Andrew Marsh. I'm autistic, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.